Hi everyone, very good afternoon to you. My name is Sabiha and today is our fifth session of the MS Excel training series, which is basic to an advanced Excel training where we will be taking you in a guided and a step-by-step manner. In today's session, we will be talking about H lookup, which is a horizontal lookup. That will be the first topic that we will be touching upon today. Now, each lookup or horizontal lookup, as the name suggests, is a lookup where you do not have column headers, rather you have row headers. So your data is in row format, and instead of having column headers, you have row headers. So let us begin with the session. Firstly, in order to get the data ready for each lookup, what I am going to do is I'm going to take the same VLOOKUP data. If you want to select the entire data within the area, do a Control A and it will select the whole data till where it extends. Then we will do a copy. So you can do a Control C or you can copy from the Home tab. Then we will navigate to the HLOOKUP sheet. Here, instead of normally pasting my data, I am going to transpose my data. Transpose is a form of pasting where if your data is vertical, it will get pasted horizontally, and if it is horizontal, it will get pasted vertically. So let me show you how transpose works. Go to paste and under paste, you will see transpose. The keyboard shortcut is a T when you're using the hotkeys. So transpose is here, and as soon as I click on transpose, you will see the column headers have now been changed to row headers. You will see that the column headers have now been changed to row headers. If you want to format this, you can go to format, and from format, you can do auto fit row height, and you can click on auto fit column width. This will format your data so that you can see the data. So the first concept that we have introduced today is called as transpose, where data which was formerly in vertical format, where we did a VLOOKUP, has now been converted to horizontal format using the HLOOKUP. I'm now going to copy paste this particular employee information system. For this, I will do a normal copy and I will come here and I will do a paste. This can be pasted as it is. Now, the first thing which I am going to do here is for the employee name, I am going to create a drop down or a list in order to make it dynamic so that when a person comes and selects a particular employee name, the entire information system, the entire employee information system will auto update itself and show you refreshed values by looking up the data set. When we performed a VLOOKUP, it was looking up data vertically. However, now that the data is in horizontal format, we are going to perform an HLOOKUP. However, before we perform the HLOOKUP, we are now going to create a drop-down or a list. The drop-down or the list will help you to choose items and make your HLOOKUP sheet more dynamic in nature. So rather than punching in values with the help of the drop-down, all you have to do is select values from the drop-down so that you can see changes in the entire employee information system. Has everyone completed copy pasting the data and transposing it as well? Has everyone completed transposing? Transpose done by everyone? Yes, no? Quick, let me know in the chat box, please. Has everyone completed transposing? then we will go ahead with the drop down. Let me know, please, very quickly in the chat box. What about the others? Thank you, Pratmesh sir. What about the others? Have you all completed? Okay. Now let us go and create the drop down. In order to create a drop down, let us go to data, and under data, let us go to data tools. In data tools, we have something called data validation, which allows you to create a list or a drop down. That is one of the purposes of data validation. Click on data validation, and under validation criteria, under allow in any value, choose list. This will allow you to create a drop down or a list of the entries. For the source of the list, I'm going to select the data horizontally. So I'm going to select till where the data exists. Once I've selected by using Control Shift and the arrow keys, I'm going to click again here and say OK. Control and backspace to come back to where we were. Now I have created the drop down, but because I have not selected any item, from the drop down you will see an empty cell. I repeat, I have created a drop down, but because I have not selected anything from here, you will see an empty cell. So click here and choose an item. Now your drop down will work because you have selected an item. Very often, a very common mistake which people do is they create the drop down, but they forget the most important step, which is choosing an item from the drop down. In that scenario, what happens is, since they have not selected any item from the drop down, when you perform a VLOOKUP or an HLOOKUP, it is actually looking up a blank cell. And because it is looking up a blank cell, what happens is, although your formula for VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP may be correct, you will still get an error because it is looking up nothing. And since it is looking up nothing, it will give you an error in your answer. Let us go to the department cell now and let us create our HLOOKUP formula. But before we begin with HLOOKUP formulae, let me write the HLOOKUP formulae here and explain to you the parts of the formulae. Now, since we have done VLOOKUP previously, HLOOKUP will not be that difficult for you all because you understand that it is a horizontal data. You are looking up a value. When you find the value, you will be looking up within the same column here. In VLOOKUP, what were we doing? We were looking up the same row. Correct? But in HLOOKUP, since we are horizontally looking, once we find the item, we look in the same column. Okay? So now, over here, we are going to say lookup value. Lookup value means what are we searching for? Lookup value means what are we searching for? So our lookup value is what are we searching for? So here, since we have the employee names, our lookup value will be our employee name. So we will be looking up the employee name. Now, what is the advantage of the drop down here? Because every time we change the employee name from the drop down, you will see that the HLOOKUP formula will update itself and give you relevant information about the department or the status on whichever item you have applied the HLOOKUP formula. Table of array stands for your data or your database. You can basically say your table of array is where are you searching. Then we have the third part, which is row index number. That is the row from where you want to pick up the data. The row from where you want to pick up the data. So whether you're looking up within the department row, or you're looking up within the status, or you're looking up within the hire date, you will decide the row number based on the row within which you are searching. And finally, you will choose either 0 or 1 based on the type of match. So if you're looking for an exact match, you're looking for specific values like a coupon code or a product ID or a product code, we will always use 0 for an exact match. But when we look up within ranges like profit values or sales values, we will in that case use 1 to look within ranges or to fetch an approximate match. So what we're going to do now is we are now going to use this formula, but before that I'm going to write the parts of the formula and write the relevant meaning with it. So lookup value, what are you searching? Right? Lookup value stands for what are you searching? Table of array, where are you searching? Okay, where is the data where you're searching? Row index is the row from where you want information. And finally, are you looking for approximate or exact match? That's your match type. Now let us begin with the formula for department. Here, since the data is in horizontal format, we are going to use an H lookup. So begin the formula or the function with equal to sign. Write the name of the function H lookup and open the bracket. Now as we move between different parts of the formula, you will see different parts of the formula getting highlighted. Lookup value stands for what are you searching? I am looking for employee name. Comma as a separator. Now you will see table of array is highlighted. This is where are you searching or where is the data where you are searching. Begin with here control shift and down and control shift and side to select the whole data till where it exists. Comma, control backspace to come back within the formula. Okay. Now we start with row number. Row number is always taken within the selection. So within this red selected area, if I want information from the department row, I will start counting from 1 and 2. The counting is always done within the selection. So the row index number is determined by the data within the selected area. So you won't count from 1. You won't count from A. You will always count from the selected area. So from the selected area, this is 1, this is 2. So we are searching within row number 2 because we want the department associated with this particular employee name. Comma again, and since we are looking for an exact match, either we double click and choose false or we use 0. Close bracket, enter, and here you will see the department quality control associated with this particular employee name. Come to the drop down, change the employee name, and you will see changes in the form. So as I keep changing the employee name from the drop down, you will see the department updates itself by looking up this particular data set. I'm copy pasting this formula here in the chat box. I'm showing you the second one as well, but for those who have followed, you all can proceed with the remaining items and you can keep pasting your formulas in the chat box. Requesting everyone to start pasting their formulas in the chat box as you'll start applying them. Is equal to H lookup. This is for status. Open the bracket. Lookup value employee name, comma, table of array data or database. Select the data. Control shift and side to select till the very end. Control backspace to come back. Now the row number is row number 3 because status is in third row within selected data. So 3, comma 0 because again we are looking for an exact match. Enter. Now as we go to the drop down and change the values, you will see that not only does the department change, but the status will also keep changing. So based on the change of employee name, you will see that the status also will change. Start copy pasting your formulas as you apply them in the chat box, everyone, please. And if anyone has any doubts or queries, please let me know. If anyone wants to share screen and show something or has any doubt, you can let me know as well. Repeat the same procedure for the hire date as well as for the number of years and the salary. In case of hire date, we are looking up the fourth row within selected area. Again 0 because we are looking for an exact match and enter. Now in case of hire date, you will see a numeric value. You will see a number. What does this number stand for? Can anyone tell me? We have done this when we did the date functions. Anyone, what is this number stand for in the in hire date? What is this number associated with? What is this number associated with? Anyone? I have got a number instead of the hire date, which is supposed to be date. What does this number stand for? Anybody? What does this number 36861 stand for? It's a numeric value, right? What does this number stand for? Anyone? Okay, let me recap a few things. This number is the number of months from 1st Jan 1900. And in case of Mac, it takes from 1904. So whenever you have a number which is not in numeric format or not in date format, you will see a number. This number stands for the number of months which have passed from 1st Jan 1900. Select this number, go to the drop down here, and you can choose either a short date or a long date format depending upon your choice. And now you can see the date in a proper date format. So very often when we see a number, that is because the date has been represented in general format. And for that, you can change it from this drop down here. Is equal to H lookup, open bracket, lookup value, employee name, comma, table of array data or the database, comma again. Now what am I searching for here? The number of years. The number of years are in row number 5 within the selection. Comma 0, close bracket, end. Now if you feel you have many rows of data and every time manually counting your rows is a tedious task, what you can do is you can write number 1 here, come to the corner, hold control on the keyboard and just drag it down. By doing this, it will give you an increment of 1 and it will fill numeric values. So now every time you need a row number, you don't have to go and manually count it. You can simply see the row number based on this new column which is added. For the salary, repeat the H lookup formula again. And if you've completed this table, you can let me know in the chat box. If you have completed this table, you can let me know in the chat box. Is equal to H lookup, lookup value, employee name. Yes, good work, Pratmesh sir. Thank you. Select this, Control Shift down, comma. Which column is the salary in? Now we can see salary is in sixth column. We don't need to count. Comma, 0, close bracket, enter. So here we have our formulas complete for the age lookup sheet. What about the other participants in the training? Please start sharing your formulas as well. Any questions, any queries? Does anyone want anything to be repeated? Or we can proceed ahead. Let me know quickly. Can we go ahead, everyone? Archana ma'am, can we go ahead? Yes, completed. Thank you, Chetan. So, okay, let us go ahead. Now, before we start with match and index, thank you. Before we start with match and index, we are going to individually do the match function and we're individually going to do the index function. And then we're going to take the match and the index function together and use it instead of a VLOOKUP. Now, let me ask you a question. Which column does VLOOKUP look up? Which is the column that the VLOOKUP function looks up? Quickly in the chat box, which is the column that the VLOOKUP function looks up? Which is the column that the VLOOKUP function looks up? Quickly. Ganesh sir, Chetan sir, which column does VLOOKUP look up? Which is the column that the VLOOKUP function looks up? Okay. The VLOOKUP function looks up your leftmost column. You can also say it looks up the first column within a data set. That is what VLOOKUP does. But that can also be considered as a limitation of VLOOKUP, that it only looks up the first or the leftmost column, correct? VLOOKUP looks up the first column or the leftmost column. That is what it does. But we can also consider it as a limitation because that is only column that it is looking. If you have data in a scenario where you're looking up the third column or the fifth column, you cannot use the VLOOKUP. And before XLOOKUP came into being, we used to use a combination of match function and index function in order to get the same answer which VLOOKUP used to give us. So when match and index function work together, they perform the function of a VLOOKUP. Let me give you a little more detail about how. Match gives you the position. So if you have a data set, match gives you the position or the location. Whereas if you have the position or the location, index function gives you the value in the cell. The index function gives you the value in the cell. So match gives you the position. Once you have the position, the value in the cell is fetched with index because you have the cell address. So match and index do the same job as a VLOOKUP. But before we use match and index together, what we are going to do is we are going to use match function, then we will use index function, and then we will put them together. Now, what does match do? Match, as the name suggests, looks for a particular value within a data set and it checks if the value is present. Now, there could be only two scenarios. Either the value is present or the value is not present. If the value is present, match will tell you the location where it is present. So look at this data set. Let me first explain it to you. In column A, I have the names of the team members. In column B, I have the numbers, the contact details of the team members. So basically, you can call this as a directory, or you can call this as yellow pages, where this is like where all your information is. Okay, so this is where you have your information. In column E, I have a list of numbers. Now, what I need to do with this list is I need to match the items in this list to the data set provided. Now, there are only two possibilities. Either the items in my list are present there or they are not present. If the items in this list are present there, it will tell me the row number. So what will match function do? It will tell me the row in which they are present. Okay. And if they are not present, it will give me an NA error that shows that the data is not present there. However, since functions and formulas are running over yourselves all the time, if any changes are made to the data and the number gets added, the list will simultaneously update itself and give you the row where it has been added. So let us try it over here for the first one. We'll begin with an equal to sign and we will write match. Now let us first understand the parts of the match function. First, lookup value. In any function or formula, lookup value always stands for what are you searching for. Lookup value always stands for what are you searching for. So here I am searching for this particular number in the cell E2. Now what is the advantage of referring to E2? When the value in E2 changes, my formulas, wherever I have referred to it, will update themselves. So that is why I will not punch in the number. I'm going to refer to the cell which has the number in it. Comma, lookup array stands for where are you searching. Lookup array stands for where are you searching, or where is my data. Now there are multiple ways of selecting your data. One option, you can select like this, B is to B. The advantage of using B is to B is if new data is added to column B, it will automatically reflect changes based on this list given. But if you do not want to do that and you only want to select how much data is provided, you will select the first cell, Control Shift and down arrow key. Control Shift and down arrow key will allow you to select till where the data exists. And then, because we want to keep this range as fixed or as locked, and we plan to drag this formula down across column F, we will be locking it. In this scenario, I'm not locking it. In the next example, I will show you locking. Comma and type of match. Here again, if you're looking for an exact match, you will always go with 0. So click on 0, close the bracket, hit enter, and this is your value. And here you will see that this is in row number 17. This number is in row number 17. Now, am I going to write this formula down again and again in column F? No. What I need to do is I need to drag it in the entire column of F. And in order to do that, I will come to the corner of the cell and double click. When I double click, it will copy this formula down across column F. But here you will see an error. See what is happening. Come to this cell, double click and see how your selection is moving. So as I drag the formula down, as it is referring to different items in column E, it is also moving one row down in the selection in column B. And finally, at one point of time, it is also looking up blank cells. In order to avoid this, what I need to do is, when I'm writing the formula, when I give a reference for the column B, if I am not comfortable using $sign, I give a reference B is to B. If I give a reference B is to B, that is for the entire column B, I don't need to use dollar sign. But if I'm going to drag and only select the number of items present, then I will need to use the F4 in order to lock it. So still over here, F4 or function F4 depending upon how your F4 keys work, comma, 0 for an exact match, enter. Now when I come to the corner and drag it, you will see it completing for the entire column F. However, in certain cases, you'll see an NA error because these three phone numbers are not present in B column. These three phone numbers are not present in the B column. If eventually they get added, it will reflect the position. But if you increase the selection, then only it will reflect the position which it is added if there are new rows added. However, if your reference is a B is to B, irrespective of whether you increase your selected area or you don't increase your selected area, it will still give you the new additions. So I don't need to keep going and changing my selected area. So that is one of the main advantages of using the selection B's to B, because even if 100 more rows here are added, it will fetch values from them and update the column F based on the additions in column B. Please try this match function, everyone. Also, another important thing is whenever you have a formula which you are going to drag down across cells and you're referring to another data set, always make sure that you do not want the reference to change, and hence it is important to lock it or convert it to an absolute reference range with the dollar sign. Please try this, everyone. If you have any doubts or queries, let me know. Requesting everyone to please be on mute. If anyone has any doubts or any queries, let me know. Have you all completed the match function? Please give me a heads up in the chat box so that we can go ahead with the index function. If you all have completed match function, let me know in chat box. We will go ahead with index function. Okay, thank you, Pratmesh sir. Thank you, Archana ma'am. Okay. We will now go ahead with the index function. Now, in the index function, we are going to talk about this particular data set and what does the index function do. Now, let me ask you a question. If I say L9, okay, if I tell you L9. So L and 9. This cell called L9 is made by the combination of column L and row 9. And if I give you the cell address L9, what will you tell me? You will tell me 351 F35 is the value in L9. Correct? How could you say that this is the value in L9? That is because L9 was an address. And what did you do? You fetch the value based on the address of the cell. So if you have the address of a cell, index function can pick up the value sitting inside that cell address. So what does index function do? If you have the details about the column and the row of a particular cell, index function will go and pick up the value and display it to you. In order to use index function, so that we make index function dynamic, we will create two drop downs here. One for size and one for zone. So that as we change values for size and zone, the price will keep getting fetched by looking up this yellow data set. So first what we will do, we will create a drop down for size, drop down for zone, and based on the combination of size and zone, the value which is there, that is the price, will be displayed here with the help of the index function. So what does index function do? It gives you the value in the cell based on the cell address. So in order to get the cell address, you need to know the column and the row. When you have the column name and the row number, you have the cell's address, which is being fetched and given to you by the index function, which will show you the value within the cell. So come to the size, and for the cell next to size, we will create a drop down or a list using these items. So these items are going to be a part of my drop down next to size. Select the cell where you want your drop down. Go to data. Under data tools, under the drop down, you will see data validation. We've done data validation for VLOOKUP. We've done data validation for HLOOKUP. So data validation, we are repeating here again to create a drop-down. Now, under validation criteria, it will ask me allow, and I am going to allow a list. I'm going to allow a list because I want a drop-down of entries. Next to source of list, you will click here and choose the source. Click again here and say OK. Go to the drop down and very, very important, choose something. Come to the zone and we will repeat the same thing for the matter for zone drop down. Select the cell for zone. Under data, you have data tools. Under data tools, you have data validation. And under any value, we will choose list in order to create a drop down for the zones. Select here and select the source. Click back again and say OK. And this is your zone. Now what will happen? At the combination of size 3 and zone 7, the cell which is there, I want index to give me the value. Correct? So size 3, zone 7. At the combination, the value which is there will be fetched using the index function. So what we are going to do to the index function? We are going to give the address of the cell to the index function. And what will the index function do? It will give you the value in the cell. So is equal to index, open bracket. Select the data or the database, comma. Now we need to give the row number. In order to give the row number in the row, what do we have? The sizes. So choose the reference of the size cell. Comma again. And now we need the column number. The column has the zone, and the zone here is 7. So for the column, we will refer to this 7. Close the bracket, hit enter, and this is the data. Now what will happen every time I change the value here, you will see changes in the price. Every time I change the value here, you will see changes in the price. And this makes my index formula very, very dynamic, because every time I change the value of the size or I change the value of the zone, it will give me the updated price amount. Please try this, everyone. Any questions? Yes, I will repeat the price. Now the price is formed by the intersection of the column and the row. The price is formed by the combination of the column and the row. The price here is basically based on the size and the zone. In order to calculate the price, I will use the index formula. Now, what does the index formula do? Based on the column and the row details, it will give you the value in the cell. So if I know the row number and the column, at the intersection point, the cell which features the value will be picked up and fetched and given to me using the index function. So is equal to index, open bracket. RA stands for data or database, select it, comma, row number stands for the row from where you want to fetch the data, which is size, comma, zone stands for the column from where you want to fetch the data. That is 5. Close bracket, hit enter, and this is the data. If I was going to drag this formula and copy it across a range, I would use the $sign to lock this particular array. But since I'm using the formula only in one location, I do not need to lock the cell. Please try this. I'm putting the formula in the chat box. I've copy pasted the formula in the chat box. You can try it. Any questions, any queries, you can let me know. Archana, is it a little more clear now, or you would like me to repeat it again? Okay, super. Please try this, everyone. Index function. Let me know once you're complete. Okay, if you all have completed this index function, I need you to use this particular data for the index function. Let me explain the requirement to you. In column L, we have the item number. Okay, the item number of the commodity or the object. In M column, we have the size, and in N column, we have the shipping zone. At the combination of the size and the shipping zone, you have the cost or the price, which will be fetched using this yellow table. But when we come here and we punch in the formula in cell O2, we are also going to come to the corner and drag the formula down. Now, when we drag the formula down, our row entries will change here. But simultaneously, here, even the selection of the data will keep moving down. Till at one point of time, when you are doing the formula, you'll actually be looking up blank cells. So you'll be looking up something like this. In order to avoid that, we need to lock our table of array or our array. That is, where are we searching? So we need to lock that range within which we are searching. So please try doing this. Please try this, everyone. Please try this, everyone. Has everyone completed? Has everyone completed? Shipping cost. Okay, let me show you shipping cost in case you all have not got it. Is equal to index open bracket. Is equal to index open bracket. The first thing which I have over here is called as array, which stands for where is the data which I'm referring to. Select the data. Comma, then I have row number, which is row from where you want to fetch the data. The row number is associated with the size since the sizes are in rows. Comma again, the shipping zones are in columns, and that is why for column number, I'm going to choose the shipping zone. Now, if you see, column number is in square bracket. In MS Excel, whenever any option is given in square bracket, it is an optional entity. That means there could be certain scenarios where you do not provide the input for column number. In this case, you need the column number, but there could be certain scenarios where the column number is not required. One such scenario will be selecting only one column. If you have only one column selected, you don't need to provide the column number. Close bracket, hit enter. Come to the corner, double click, and this is your answer. Now again, I did not use the dollar sign. Double click here and see what is happening. I had said if you don't use the dollar sign, there could be certain scenarios where you are actually looking up a blank range. And that is exactly what is happening here. In order to avoid that, what I am going to do is, when I am within this selected area, I will use F4 in order to lock the range. By doing that, by using the F4 dollar sign shortcut to lock the range, now when I come to the corner and double click, you will not see an error, and you will see that for every change in size and zone, you are getting the shipping cost associated with it. So I'm copy pasting this formula. You can check at your end. Any questions, any queries, you can let me know. If you want me to repeat anything, you can let me know that as well. Have you completed, everyone? Can we go ahead? Yes, can we proceed? Everyone has completed? Does anyone want anything to be repeated? Okay, we will go to this match and index sheet. Once we complete this match and index sheet, we will take match and index back to the VLOOKUP sheet. And then we will compare VLOOKUP formula and answers got from VLOOKUP to the answers got with a combination of match and index. Firstly, we have April year and we have DVD drives. So basically from this data, I want the data for the month April for the product DVD drives. In order to make sure that this works fine, I will use match function to get the position of April and position of DVD drives. Then, based on the match, I will use an index to look up the value of the match function. In order to make this more dynamic, what I can also do is create a drop down for both, for the months plus the products. Okay, but first I am going to perform the match and the index function on the data which is available here. In order to perform match for April, what will I do? I will write is equal to match function, open bracket. Lookup value stands for what are you searching for? I repeat, lookup value stands for what are you searching for? I'm searching for April, comma. Where are you searching? I'm searching within this column, comma again. And in type of match, I'm going to use 0, which is an exact match. Enter. So I have got the position of April within column D. I repeat, I have got the position of April within column D. The same function match, I will now use it to get the position of DVD drives within this row of data. I will use match function again to get the position of DVD drives within this row of data. Is equal to match, open bracket. Lookup value DVD drives, comma. Lookup array the whole row of data, comma again, and in type of match I will use 0 for an exact match, close bracket and hit enter. So here I have the data for April and I also have the data for DVD drives. Please complete this everyone. We will then go to calculating production. Please complete this everyone. We will then go to calculating the production. I am copy pasting formulas in the chat box for your reference. I want you all also to copy paste formulas which you write on your own in the chat box so that I can quickly check your formulas. Okay, now let us put the formulae for the production. Now the production is calculated using the index function. At the combination of April and DVD drives, the cell which is there, the value will be fetched and given to me using the index function over here. So begin with an equal to sign, index, open bracket. Array stands for your data or your database. Select the whole data. Comma, row number stands for the row from where you want to fetch the data. Now, if I want to fetch the data from April, April is the fourth row, so I'll select this reference. Comma, column number, I'm looking for data in DVD column, and DVD column is in third column. Enter. This is my answer. You can cross check it. Now, this is when I've given both row and column both. But suppose I know I'm fetching data from DVD column and I write index like this. Open. Array stands for this is my data, so I want data from DVD column. I'm not choosing the whole data. I'm only taking one column. Comma, row number stands for the row from where I want to fetch my data. Row number stands for row from where I want to fetch the data. So which is the row from where I want to fetch the data? April, fourth row. Now, do you think I need to give a column number here? No. Since I've only taken one column from where I want my output, in these scenarios, the column number is in square bracket. And even if I don't give an entry for column number, I will still get an answer. Even if I don't get a column number, I will still get an answer, right? So close bracket, hit enter, and you will still get the same answer. That's it. I've made a mistake in the selection. When I was taking the selection, when I'm taking the data, if I only take this data and I'm not taking the labels, then even for index, I have to only take the data. Close bracket, hit enter, and I've got the same answer here as well. So in this way, I can do an index function with only one column selected. That is the column from where I want my output. Please try this, everyone. I'm putting this formula also in the chat box. And I also want to speak to you about which function do you think is better. Do you prefer the index with row and column both? Or do you prefer taking only from where you want the output? Which is your preference? I would like to know that as well. Because mostly participants have always found taking only one column rather than full data preferable as compared to, taking whole data sets. Please try, everyone. If you have any questions or queries, let me know. In case anyone has missed any topic, let me know. I'll quickly recap it. In case anyone has missed anything, you can let me know. We can recap it. For those who have completed this, I want you to create a drop down. For those who have completed this, I want you to create a drop down with the months. And I also want you to create a drop down with the products. So create two drop downs, please, those who've completed. Okay, great. Thank you, Archana. Now, once we create the drop down, next to the drop down, I want you to do match. Next to the drop down, I want you to do match. I'm creating the drop down in the meanwhile. Okay, I have created two drop downs. Next to that, I want you to do a match, which is looking up the drop down. Now, what is the advantage of a match function looking up a drop down? When the match function is looking up a drop down, every time the value in the drop down changes, my match will update itself in order to give me the new row number of the new item in the drop down. So is equal to match, open bracket, lookup value March, comma, where am I looking up within the data set, comma 0 exact. Same match for DVD is equal to match, open bracket, lookup value DVD drives, comma, where am I looking up? I'm looking up within this data set, comma 0 for exact match, bracket closed, enter. Now the advantage of this is when I come over here and I click on this drop down, you will see that the values are changing. Please try, everyone. Please try, everyone. Now, based on this, the match function, and based on the drop down, we are now going to get the production using the index function. So is equal to index, open bracket. Array stands for data or the database, comma, row number stands for row from where you're fetching data, which is this row, comma, column stands for the column from where you're fetching data. Close bracket, hit enter, and this is the data. So at the intersection of DVD drives and September, this is the value that is being shown to me. So in this way, there are two ways of doing the match and index function together. In one case, we take the whole data set and we give the row number and the column number. In scenario 2, we only take the specific column from where we want to fetch the answer. And in that scenario, we only end up giving the row input. Now, once you all complete that, I need you all to get the match function here for me and the index function. So what you need to do is you need to match this to the data set and get the position or the location and then get the name associated. This is an activity which you all need to do. I will be checking it. So you need to copy paste formulas in the chat box. So what do I need? I need the location of this. And then I need the name associated. Come on, everyone, please start. Please try this, everyone. Have you completed it, everyone? Any questions, any queries? There are no formulas in the chat box. So have you all started doing this? Have you all completed this, everyone? Okay, let me give you a little help. For location, what are you all using? Which formula are you using for the row number? Anyone in the chat box, which is the formula you're using for row number? For the row number, which is the formula that you all are using? Match. So for the row number, we are using match. So is equal to match. Open right. Lookup value this, comma. Where am I searching? Within the whole data set. Comma 0, exact match, enter. Now for the name, what will I do? Is equal to index. Now two ways of index. One, I only take name column. Two, I take the whole data set and then I specify my row and column. So if I want to take only this column, I'm going to take this column, comma, and for the row number, I'm going to take this row, which is row 12. Close bracket, enter, and here I will see the name associated with location 12. Did you all do it this way? Let me know. Did everyone do it in this manner? Please try everyone. Let me know in the chat box once you all complete. Any questions, any queries, let me know. Okay, let us continue. And now I'm going to go back to my first VLOOKUP sheet. Okay. And here I'm going to perform match and index. So on this particular sheet, we are now going to perform match and index. So first, I will just create the drop down very quickly. Under data, data tools, list, and source of my list, control shift down, enter, enter. Control backspace. And from here, I will choose the items. Now, in order to get the department, I first need to get the position of the employee name. For the position of the employee name, I'll say is equal to match, open bracket. Lookup value employee name, comma, where are we searching within the data set? So click on employee name header, control shift and down, comma, 0 for exact match, bracket close, enter, control backspace. Now here I have got the position of employee name David. When I go to the drop down and change the position, you will see match gets changed. For the value of the department associated with employee name, which is selected, I will use the index function. Now to use index function, there are two ways. One, you select the whole data set, whereby the whole data set will be considered. When the whole data set is considered, you need to give row plus column. So you need to give row and column both details. But if you only take one column, I repeat, but if you take only one column, the column from where you're fetching the data, then you only need to give row number. So for department, begin with an equal to sign, index, open bracket. For department, begin with an equal to sign, index, open bracket. RA stands for data, database, where are you searching? And for the department, I am going to search within this data set. For the department, I am going to search within this department. And within this department, within this data set, I'm only going to look up department column. Select the first cell, control shift and down, comma, control backspace to come to the top. Now they will ask me row number. For my row number, I will select the cell reference of match. Alternatively, I can also punch in match function within index. So in an index function, I also have the option of writing the match formula, which I will show you now. Since I've only taken one column, that is the column from where I want my answer, I do not need to provide column number. Since I've only taken one column, from where I need to provide my answer, I do not need to give column number. And here you will see the department has come as quality control. Go to the drop down, scroll till the end and choose. As you keep making changes to the employee name, you will see changes over here within the department. So you keep going, you keep clicking, and you will see different departments. I'm copy pasting this formula for you all for your reference. Simultaneously, I'm also going to write a formula with match inside index. Is everyone clear with this match? Now, in order to write match function inside index, we always begin writing index function first. When there are two formulas inside the same cell, we only write one equal to. The next rule to be remembered is the number of brackets that open, those many brackets will close, is equal to index open bracket. RA stands for data or database. Now, if I want department, I'm going to take department column, control shift down, comma, control backspace, comma. Now for row number, I am going to write the match function. So match, open bracket, lookup value employee name, correct? Comma. Now you follow the match function like you would normally do. Lookup array, so I am looking up within this column, control shift down, comma. Type of match, 0 because I want an exact match, close bracket. So I have the index column and I have a match function. Close bracket, enter, and this is the answer. If you see, in both scenarios, I have got the same answer. I repeat, If you see carefully, I've got the same answer. It's just that the methodology is different. In the scenario 1 or in case of option 1, I deconstructed match and index. Match in one column, index in one column, referring to the cell where match is. But in option 2, I wrote match and index both in the same cell. I repeat, I wrote match and index both within the same cell. Please try this, everyone. Any questions, any queries, let me know. Please try. Any questions, any queries, let me know. If anyone wants to share their screen, let me know that as well. And if anyone wants to go ahead and write 2 match functions, do that. We will be considering one more scenario where I will move the employee name column. Because looking up the leftmost column, even VLOOKUP can do, right? So why do we do match and index? Now, for scenario 2, I'm going to select this column, Control Shift and down, cut this column, and I'm going to paste it here. So what have I done? Now my employee name is no longer in my leftmost column. Can I do a VLOOKUP now? Answer me yes or no. Can I perform a VLOOKUP now? Is it possible to perform a VLOOKUP now? And if yes, I'm ready to give my screen. Please do the VLOOKUP and give me. Can we perform a VLOOKUP now? No, we cannot perform a VLOOKUP now. Why? Because the data which we are looking up, that is the employee name, is no longer in the leftmost column. Correct? Which column it is in? Last. In this scenario, what will we do? In this scenario, we will use match and index. In this scenario, what will we do? We will use match and index. If you see, this is still working as it is. Can you see this? This is still working as it is. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come and I'm going to do for status. Okay, so is equal to index, open. For index, I need the status, so I'm going to take the status column, Control Shift down, comma. Now I need match because I need the position. So lookup value will be this particular employee name, comma, lookup array will be here, Control Shift down, comma 0 for exact match, close bracket. Now since I've only taken one column, okay, I don't need to give the second match for the column number. If I would take 2 columns or 4 columns or the whole data set, I would need to give a column number. But here, since I have only one column from where I'm fetching data, I don't need to give a column number. Close bracket, hit enter, control backspace, and this is the data. Now here, when I come and I change the value, it will tell me the status of the employee name over here. Even the department will be accordingly changing. For hire date, I can repeat the same procedure. Is equal to index, open bracket. Where is the hire date? In this column, comma. Now match. Using match, what am I going to do? I'm going to get the position. So this is the employee name, comma. Employee data is no longer in leftmost column. 0 for exact match, close bracket. So here, as you can see, that I have got the data for the status and a hire date by looking up this data set when my employee name is no longer in the leftmost column. So VLOOKUP always looks up data in leftmost column. But when we come to match and index, they look up any column and give you the data. Since the date is not in proper date format, I will go to the drop down and convert it into short date, and here I have my date form. Select the data. I'm copy pasting the formulas in the chat box for your reference. Let me know once you all complete this so that we can go ahead with the last sheet for today, which is a two-way lookup. Let me know when you all complete this. We can go ahead with a two-way lookup. Once you're complete, let me know. Once you'll complete this, let me know. We will go to the two-way lookup sheet. Please let me know when you're complete. We go to the two-way lookup sheet. I'll also check the attendance. There are fewer participants, I think, in today's session, right? Archana ma'am, Pratmesh sir, Chetan sir, can I go ahead? Have you completed this? Someone please give me a heads up. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you, Pratmesh. Let me explain this data to you. This is an insurance company related data. So in column first, that is the B column, we have the policy number. That is the policy number given to the person. In C, we have the expiry date of the policy. In column D, we have the location, whether it is urban or rural. Column E, we have the acronym of the state. Column F, we have the region. Column G, we have the insured value. Column H, we have the type of construction. Column I, the business type. And J and K, whether they have experienced an earthquake or a flood or both or neither. Okay. So now based on this data, okay, we first need to get the names of the states using this table. Step 1, we need to get the names of the states using this table. Step 2, once we have the names of the state and we already know whether it is urban or rural, we need to calculate the percentage of claim they are entitled to. The percentage of claim that they are entitled to. So first, when we are doing the VLOOKUP, we will do a VLOOKUP for the state by looking up this data. The second thing which we are going to do is, I repeat, the second thing which we are going to do is, whether it is urban or rural, we are going to see the claim that the person is entitled to. So let me come here and let me write state name column. Now for this, we can do a VLOOKUP because the data here in this table is leftmost column. And here also it is in leftmost column. But along with VLOOKUP, we will also need one more function. And we will add two columns over here so that we have enough space and we don't need to overwrite any of these columns or tables. For state name, this is the state acronym. We will look up this acronym within this table. I repeat, we will look up this acronym in this table. So is equal to VLOOKUP, that is vertical lookup. Lookup value, which is the lookup value? The lookup value is your state acronym. That is what you are searching for. Comma, table of array is my data or my database. That means where I'm searching. I am searching within this table. If I want to drag the formulae down, I'll need to lock this table so that when I drag it, my reference does not change. Comma, column index number stands for column number within the selection from where I'm fetching the data. So within this selection, I'm fetching the data from column 2. So within this selection, I am fetching the data from column 2. Comma 0 because I'm looking for an exact match. Enter. This is my answer by looking up this table. Come to the corner, double click, and now I've completed picking up or fetching the names of the states associated with the acronym from the table. I'm copy pasting the formula in chat box for your reference. Please try this. once we complete this, we will need the column number for the second VLOOKUP. So we will need another VLOOKUP where we will look up these state names within this table. But the column number will be decided whether they are urban or they are rural. So if they are urban, we will be fetching data from this column. If they are rural, we will be fetching data from this column. So this is your two-way lookup. So first we are looking up leftmost column. We are also looking up this particular row. In order to look up this row, we will use match function to get whether it is urban column or rural column. So how will we do the match function? We will begin with an equal to sign, match open bracket. Lookup value will be this, whether it is urban or rural, comma. Lookup array is this row of data. Because it's a part of the table, you have to take that blank cell as well. Because it is a part of the table, you have to take the blank cell as well. Use the dollar sign to lock it because we are going to drag the formula down, comma, 0 for an exact match. Close bracket, hit enter. Now, based on whether it is urban or rural, you will write whether it is column 2 or 3 from where it is fetching the data. This is for the second table. So I repeat, this particular match function is for the second table. Now, since we have the leftmost column values, that is the names of the state, we also have the column number based on whether it is urban or rural, which tells us from which column are we fetching the data. So for that, we will do claim amount. Okay. How will we do the claim amount? Is equal to VLOOKUP open bracket. Lookup value state, comma, where are we searching? Within this table. So take the whole table. When we are taking the table, we will use F4 dollar sign to lock the table. When we are taking the table reference, we will use F4 dollar sign to lock the table, comma, column index number. Column index number stands for within my table of array or within my selected area, which is the column from where I want to fetch the data. Within my selected area, which is the column from where I want to fetch the data. So right now, I am going to fetch the data from this value which I have got through match, comma, 0 for an exact match because I'm looking for exact values, close bracket, hit enter. Here, I've got my claim amount as 0.05. Since the formatting is not in percentage, you will see it in decimal. In order to convert it into proper percentage format, go to the drop down and choose percentage. Then come to the corner of the cell, double click and complete it for the whole column. Now, instead of choosing percentage drop down from here, I could also choose this percentage. But this percentage would give me rounded off values. Whereas I have values in percentage which are like 5.60, 1.50. So it would give me rounded off values rather than this, which would not give me precise calculations. And that is why we always choose formatting in terms of percentage from the drop down and not from here. However, if you are looking for rounded values or rounded off values, you can go ahead with this option. Let me know if you have any questions or queries. I'm copy pasting all of these formulas in chat for your reference. This is a more complex variation of a VLOOKUP along with a match. It is also addressed as a two-way lookup. The reason why it is called as a two-way lookup because we are not only looking up vertically, but we are also looking within column using match function. So this is a classic example of a two-way lookup where we look up like this also and we look up like this also. So this is called as a two-way lookup. Any questions, any queries, let me know. Any questions, any queries, let me know. Does anyone want to share their screen or does anyone want me to re-explain the two-way lookup? You can let me know that as well. Priyanka or Archana ma'am or Asha ma'am, anyone who wants me to re-explain two-way lookup or any other topic that was covered today, you can let me know. Because in tomorrow's session, we will begin with pivot table from the basics. Did you all try out the formulae for two-way lookup? Did you all manage everyone? Did all the participants manage the two-way lookup? Okay, okay. Please try. Sure, sure. I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it. Okay. So the first lookup is we have the acronym of the state. We have the acronym for the state here. And Within this data, we have the names of the state. So based on the acronym, we will look up this table, the first table, I can call it blue table. And from here, we will get the full name of the state. We will do a VLOOKUP since this is in leftmost column or the first column. So is equal to VLOOKUP, open. Lookup value, we are looking up this acronym, comma. Where are we searching? We are searching within this table. Use $sign to lock it because we want to drag the formula down. And when we drag the formula down, we do not want our reference to change. Comma, column index number. Column index number stands for the column number from where we are fetching data. And within this table, in second column, the names of the states are there. So 2, comma 0, close bracket, enter. So here we have the names of the state by looking up the blue table. Come to the corner, double click, and this is your answer. Now for the match function. For the match function, why do we need the match function first? Now, in the next table, in the leftmost column, we have the names of the state. Okay. And based on the name of the state, I repeat, whether it is urban or it is rural, I repeat, whether it is urban or it is rural, we will need to decide the claim amount. Now, if I do a VLOOKUP, it will be lookup value, okay? And I will say lookup value state. Okay, see what happens. Is equal to VLOOKUP. Open lookup value state, comma, table of array, the whole table. This is also fine. But when I come to column number, whether it is urban or rural, I need to give the column number. So what will I end up doing? Urban. So urban is second column. So I will write 2 here. Comma. And I will write 0 for exact. But this makes it only second column when I drag it down. What do I want it to do? I want it, if it is urban, it will look up second column. If it is rural, I want it to look up third column. So I want to make it dynamic. And that is why, in order to get the value of whether it is urban column or rural column, I will need to do match function here. So is equal to match, open bracket. Lookup value, urban, comma. Where are we searching? In this row. $sign lock it so that we can drag the formula. Correct? Whenever you are dragging any formula and you're referring to cells, always use $sign to lock that specific range to make it absolute or constant or fixed. Comma, 0 for exact match, enter. So in this column, we get the column number where we will look up when we need to find out the claim amount. Finally, for claim amount, we will do our second VLOOKUP is equal to VLOOKUP. Lookup value, state name, comma, table of array, the whole data or the database. Use the $sign to lock the range, comma, column index number. Column index number is the column number from where you want to fetch the data. And the column number from where I want to fetch the data is based on this match function. Comma 0 for an exact match, close the bracket and enter. Come to the corner, drag the formula. So now you have your claim amount based on the second table. I repeat, you have your claim amount based on your second table. Please try, everyone. Any questions, any queries, you can let me know. Is it better now, Priyanka? Were you able to follow? What about the other participants? Were they able to follow now? Okay, perfect. Anyone else? Any questions? Any queries? Can we call it a day? Okay, we will stop the training session today.